when you're in the moment, delay is really the only thing that you have to fear. What's shaking? Welcome back to All In. Today we're going to talk about decisions, how to make them and what's stopping you from making them in business. And we're specifically going to hone in on business with this today. This isn't about life and relationships and all that. I want to talk about business decisions and how to make those and be clear about them. How does that sound? Before we dive into this, please share this episode out with at least 3 people. We don't take promotions or sponsors. The only way we help more people is by you sharing this, and that means you're part of the team. All right. I've never really had an issue making business decisions, and I'll tell you some of those reasons why, and I'll dive into those as far as what you can do and some methods that you can do to help you make those decisions. And there's a lot of things that I've discovered that can actually hinder people from making decisions. Usually it's procrastination, usually it's delay because they're unable to see that fork and go which direction they want to go and understand the repercussions. They're thinking something bad's going to happen down choice 1, something good's going to happen down choice 2, but what if something good happens and something bad happens? And there's a lot of overanalyzing. There's really only 2 things that come down to making these business decisions. And even though I've made many, many decisions in my life, and some of those were actually pretty poor decisions, they've been bad. You know, they've caused loss of money, loss of time, loss of even people, like relationships, employees, partners, all of that. Some of those have been bad decisions. Still, I look back and I've never really regretted any of those because I made the decision in the moment and kept moving forward. And let me explain a little bit what that is, because when you're in the moment, delay is really the only thing that you have to fear. And when you're looking at business, because a lot of things in business has to do with timing and opportunity. And if you don't jump on those things right now, the opportunity will most likely pass you by if you're going after something that's exponential growth. You know, if you're in a business and you have a business right now, you're looking at going into a business to where it's, you know, just inching up the ways. And this is a lot to do with my industry too, with MSPs, because most MSPs, they don't increase their revenue that much year after year. And that's because a lot of business opportunities tend to pass you by when you just sit on them. That's the biggest enemy to wealth and happiness in business is delay. Delay is the biggest enemy when it comes to wealth and happiness in business. And this is what can cause you to lose those things, those missed opportunities. You can lose people, you can lose revenue because you delayed in your decision-making process. And again, delay is the enemy of wealth and happiness. Now, as I look back, I've never really delayed much. There's a phrase that I use, it's like I'll sleep on it and then I'll go for it tomorrow. It's not long, or it's usually not longer than 24 hours that I actually sit on a decision because I move quick. And there's some things to where I've let it kind of play out, but actually, even when I've let it play out over like 6 months to a year, a good example on this would be my publicist that I'm currently working with. I actually let that sit like 8 months. Now, you're like, wait, Rick, you're contradicting yourself. No, I'm not. And I'll tell you why, because when I first had the conversation with this dude, I actually told him no. Exactly. I made a decision at that point, and that no can also be in the form of a not now. Are you following me with that? So if it's a not now is still a no, especially in the scenario that I'm talking about, because 8 months later, it's like this dude completely circled out of my life, but then circled back into it over a scenario. And at that time, it was the right timing, like we were talking earlier, that a lot of business has to do with timing and decisions, that then it became a yes. So when I said that no, if I look at that 8-month time period, right? Because as soon as I said yes, 8 months later, all of a sudden I'm going on Cheddar, I'm going on Bloomberg, I'm getting invited onto all these amazing huge shows, Reuters, Fox and Friends, CNN, all this stuff is materializing for me at the right timing right now because of a public offering, and all just seem to coalesce. But that's also because I didn't delay in my decision 8 months ago when I told this dude no. And what did that do for me? In that moment, it allowed me to free up my mind, free up my energy to be able to know I know what I need to accomplish over the next 6 months at this point in time. And right now, this doesn't seem like the right timing for me because of the energy I have to put into it. And I said no. Now, there's other scenarios to where I'm sure you're like, well, what if you said yes? Of course, what if you said yes? A lot of amazing things could have happened at that time, but I could have pushed back some other things in my life. So while I said no to that, I was actually saying yes to about 6 other initiatives in that time period, and I knew what my bandwidth was. So while I had a no on this one area, I said yes to 6 other things because I was sure of my purpose and the direction that I was going in. And that, my friends, is only about 2% of people if I were to put a number on it when it comes to business decisions. Remember how I was talking about MSPs, how they just continue, managed service providers, how they just continue to inch up year after year after year? That's because of a lack of a decision. All they're doing is drifting. This can be any business. There's only 2 ways in a decision. You either make a decision or you don't make a decision. The people that make the decisions, whether it's a yes or a no, are those 2% of people that I'm talking about in business. And that's because they know what they're going after. Someone once said at a conference, that's called definiteness of purpose. You know where you have to go. You know what your purpose is, and you know the decisions that are going to come across your plate. You are either going to decide a yes or a no, but either one of those is still making a decision. Because the other side, the ones that sit there not making decisions, they're just drifting. They are drifters. They are in fear because they're not sure of themselves, not sure of even the business that they're in right now. They don't know where they're going. They have no plan. They're just thinking about right now in the moment about saying, you know what? I know I need to make some money. I know I can survive on $80,000 a year, or like the Small Business Administration says, the average business owner makes $59,900 a year. That's stupid. Fear causes you to drift. So when you're in business and those opportunities are passing you by, a decision can be either a yes or a no. But when you say no to one thing, it really means that you're saying yes to something else. It's still a decision. The drifters just avoid it all. They might have 3 opportunities that come across, but they're just looking at them and they just let them sit there and they go away and they just continue drifting throughout their business and hoping that things can happen without any action on their part whatsoever, without any decision on their part whatsoever. They sit in fear over the what ifs and they never move. They never increase. They never exponentially grow their business because they just drift. How sad is that? Now, it's probably, let's be real, okay? It's probably 98% of the people that are listening to this right now are in this, but I'm hoping some of you slide when you hear this over to that 2% to where you say, you know what? I know where I'm going to be a year from now. And here's an exercise for you to do this. I've done this. This is called quantum dating, okay? You put a date out there, you close your eyes and you be like, hey, where do I need to be and when do I want to be there? But you can reverse that and say, when do I want to be there? And then go into the, how do I get there and where do I want to be? Because if you say the date's going to be, we'll say June 27th, 2022. This is where I want to be. I want to have this much money in my bank account. I want to have this amount of employees. I want to gain 5 clients. I want to have a good marketing plan in place. As soon as you look at that date, then you can actually start working backwards and all the decisions start to come even easier and easier as far as what you say yes to and what you say no to. Because the only way you're not making the decision is if you don't say yes or you don't say no, you actually don't make one at all, and that's drifting. Even a no is a decision. And a no is okay. And you actually I would love to have more no's than I would yeses, because that means that I have even more definiteness of purpose. Because as I said with this scenario, with my representative, my PR rep, 8 months ago, when I told him no, it was saying yes to other things that I needed to do right then and there. That is not drifting. That is actually definiteness of purpose and continuing to move confidently in faith in the direction that you know that you need to go. Which are you going to do today? Are you going to be that 2% in definiteness of purpose and actually decide yes or no on what's in front of your plate right now within a reasonable amount of time? And I'm saying 24 hours is usually what I give. Or are you just going to continue to drift and continue to hope things happen, and you get to a certain level, you plateau, you're not happy, you're just coasting through life, your business is just mostly flatlined, and 5 years from now you'll be out of business because you never made a decision. All you did was just drift through those moments in your life. 24 hours, yes or no, make the decisions, and then you will see results.